In the next two exercises, we're going to walk through an approach for developing a conceptual surface into a parametric architectural assembly. I'm going to start this process by loading this conceptual surface developed in the massing environment into a project. I'm first going to create a new project. Within the massing environment, click Load into Project and place your surface in the project environment. With your surface loaded into the project, now go to your Add-ins menu and find Dynamo. We now want to reference the surface geometry into Dynamo so we can use it as the basis for our design development. Find the Select Face component. On the component, choose Select Instance and choose the surface in Vasari. We can view the reference surface in Dynamo by activating the preview background and zooming out. Here we can see the reference surface being displayed to us within the Dynamo preview environment. The background preview is a helpful tool that will allow us to ensure that our system is operating as we expect. We now need to find the surface domain component. This will allow us to establish the dimension of the surface so we can continue to develop geometry on top of it. After finding the surface domain, we need to find the UV grid component. The UV grid will divide up the domain into even UV counts. This is another way of saying that we are plotting a grid across the three-dimensional curving surface. U and V refer to the coordinate space of that surface. To control the U and V divisions, I'm going to create two number sliders. I'm going to change the upper extents of the sliders to 20. After I've created two sliders, I'm going to plug them into the U and V inputs of the UV grid respectively. To this point, we've only established the U and V coordinates. We need to transfer these coordinates to an actual point object. To do this, we need to find the Evaluate UV component. The Evaluate UV component requires that we supply a grid of UVs and the original face of our surface. We can now click Run. Within the preview background, we can see that points are now being plotted across the surface. If we modify the U and V slider parameters, we can see the impacts of this change on the overall division of the surface. For this particular exercise, we want two separate but interrelated grids. One grid will serve as our paneling system, while the other grid will control the structure. I'm going to copy and paste the UV grid and the Evaluate UV component. On the second set of components, I want to modify the U and V divisions by using a divided value of the number sliders. I'm going to find the divide component. I'm now going to divide my U division by a factor of 2. This means that for every 2 panels along the U direction, I will have one structural member. After I connect in my U count, I'm going to use another component to provide a static value for V. I know that downstream my adaptive component is going to have 3 placement points, so I know I can use a static value for the V count. We can now observe 2 distinct grids within our preview. Both of these grids will be used to place adaptive components.